Getting there. I need to be with you.
Yeah, definitely. 4 of us. I'm with the commission and I'm trying to get the
The showdown is finally here, and it caught everyone off guard. For weeks, fans have been speculating, trying to piece together the clues. But no one truly saw this coming. Just hours after ignoring each other in public, Crawford and Canelo Alvarez took their feud to a whole new level. What started as a potential clash in the ring spilt over, all the way to the airport. Just days before the fight, Terence Crawford, fresh off his win over Madamov, was vocal about wanting to face Canelo Alvarez. During a recent Instagram live session with His Excellency Turki Alalshik, both Crawford and Alalshik openly called out Canelo, stirring the pot even further.
Yes! Let's go! Canelo, come on!
You heard it from him?
We are ready!
Yeah, just put me in the game, coach. Just put me in the game. Canelo Crawford, the biggest...
Since then, Crawford has gone silent on the matter, at least publicly. But after Edgar Berlanga's most recent fight, he reignited the flame. In a pointed interview, Crawford labeled Canelo a duck for avoiding serious talks about the potential showdown. Many believe a clash between these two could be one of the biggest events in modern boxing. When asked to respond, Canelo initially brushed it off, saying, "I don't have anything to say about that."
On the internet with Turki Alalshik calling you out, what's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
But when pressed further, Canelo didn't hold back. He dismissed Crawford's challenge outright, calling the welterweight champ too easy and too light to be a real threat. To Canelo, taking on Crawford wasn't worth the time. It was clear he didn't see him as a worthy opponent.
Easy work. I heard him say, I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him.
That should have been the end of it. But for Crawford, it was just the beginning. Things escalated quickly when the two unexpectedly crossed paths at the airport terminal. Both fighters were with their teams, but neither seemed willing to walk away, especially Crawford. Still fuming from Canelo's too easy comment, he allegedly confronted him, and tensions boiled over. Within moments, it turned physical.
Whole fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you're still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk.
What makes all of this even more intriguing is that not long ago, Crawford spoke respectfully about Canelo. During Canelo's bout against Berlanga, he once again proved why he's considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. He dropped Berlanga early and controlled much of the fight, despite Berlanga's impressive resilience and heart. Canelo's dominant performance left little doubt. He still reigns supreme in the super middleweight division. Watching from the sidelines, Crawford couldn't help but acknowledge the Mexican champion's undeniable skill. "I went to the Canelo-Berlanga fight, then straight to the UFC event," Crawford shared when asked about Canelo's performance. "I think Canelo did what he always does. He put on a great show. Canelo was Canelo. Berlanga also impressed me. He showed heart and determination and made it a real fight." Crawford's praise for both fighters showed his deep respect for the sport, but it also revealed something else: his ongoing desire to face Canelo. Having recently moved up to super welterweight, Crawford now has his sights set on an even bigger challenge. According to him, he won't stop until the fight is made. A potential matchup would require Crawford to leap 2 weight divisions, but the Omaha native seems unfazed by the size difference. For Crawford, this isn't just about belts or money, it's about legacy.
They're two great pound-for-pound fighters, and if they feel like, it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But, Canelo, he's a big dude. So I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing, you know, to make the biggest fights and try.
Crawford's recent win over Israel Madjarismo marked his first fight to go the distance in 8 years. A fact that sparked debate among analysts about whether his trademark power might be fading as he climbs in weight. Madjarismo, known for his toughness and durability, pushed Crawford the full 12 rounds in what turned out to be a highly competitive bout. While Crawford's power is still one of his standout attributes, the real question now is how it will hold up against someone like Canelo, who's taken punches from the best and kept moving forward.
Mel Charlo couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Jaime Munguia couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Triple G couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Kovalev couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Berlanga couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Daniel Jacobs couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Caleb Plant couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. ¿Qué Buck Crawford le va a hacer a ese tigre? Ustedes no vieron Buck Crawford versus Mastromov. What power did Buck Crawford have? Put me in the game, coach. No, you're the 15th man in the roster. You will sit in the bench. Well, you...
Despite the speculation, Crawford remains unfazed. In the same interview, he made one thing clear. His hunger for a showdown with Canelo hasn't gone anywhere. "I've been wanting this fight," he said. "It's a legacy fight. It's the biggest fight in boxing right now." Crawford even described it as the last of the Mohicans, a rare clash between two of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. A fight of that magnitude, he believes, isn't just good for him. It's something the entire sport needs.
This fight right here is like the last of the Mohicans. You know, we both coming in an era where Floyd Mayweather was #1 pound for pound, Showtime, and HBO era, that type of era. So I think this fight will be massive.
Crawford's confidence is unmistakable when he talks about the possibility of facing Canelo. He acknowledges the size difference, but far from being intimidated, he sees it as fuel. For him, this is what boxing is all about. Pushing yourself to the limit and taking on the toughest challenges the sport has to offer. "No, Canelo is bigger than me, but I'm up for the challenge," Crawford said. "It's all respect, but if he decides to come my way and we step into that ring, it'll be an electrifying fight. And of course, I'll beat him. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't believe anyone can beat me once I'm in that ring." Crawford's stellar record supports that confidence, but a matchup with Canelo would be an entirely new level of competition. Canelo, known for his power, ring IQ, and decades of experience, has conquered multiple weight divisions and faced some of the sport's elite. A showdown with Crawford, who's dominated the lighter weight classes, would be a true clash of styles, skills, and physicality. For now, Canelo hasn't committed to his next opponent. After the Berlingo fight, he mentioned taking time off to be with his family before making a decision. That leaves the door wide open for anything, including a possible mega fight with Crawford.
Terrence, any chance your kids become UFC champions?
No.
Why not?
They don't pay you enough.
Things are only heating up from here. While some may view Berlingo's ability to go the distance as a moral victory, for Canelo Alvarez, it was just another night of proving why his power and presence still dominate the ring. Although he didn't score the knockout fans often expect, Canelo once again left a mark, both physically and mentally. This was the 4th consecutive fight where Canelo dropped his opponent but still went the distance for a decision win. For a fighter with a resume as decorated as his, this trend has raised a few eyebrows. Yet Canelo remains unfazed. "They're always going to say something," Canelo said after the fight, visibly frustrated. "I fight younger fighters. They say I should fight older ones. I fight older fighters. They question that too. But it's my experience, my skill, my hard work, and my intelligence, all of it together, that makes me the best." At this point in his career, it almost seems like no victory is ever enough to quiet the critics. But maybe it's not about what Canelo's already done. It's about what still lies ahead. The The critics' voices are getting harder to ignore. Since his loss to Dmitry Bivol in May 2022, Canelo has faced a series of fighters who, while talented, haven't posed the same level of threat. Against Belonga, Canelo entered the ring as a -1,600 favorite, raising questions about whether boxing's biggest star still seeks the kind of challenge that brings danger, drama, and legacy-defining moments. Enter Terence Crawford, known for his precision, speed, and elite ring IQ, sees himself as that next great challenge. His drawn comparisons between a potential clash with Canelo and the legendary 1983 bout between Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran. Except, in Crawford's version, the smaller guy wins. "That smaller guy is me," Crawford said with confidence. But before a Crawford versus Canelo megafight can take shape, there's another storm brewing. A potential rematch between Canelo and Dmitry Bivol. Bivol, who clearly outclassed Canelo in their first bout, despite suspiciously close scorecards, is now on the verge of a historic fight of his own. He's set to face Art Beterbiev in a showdown for the undisputed light heavyweight title. If Bivol emerges victorious, Canelo has already hinted at seeking redemption, chasing the chance to become the undisputed champion in a second weight class. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the options couldn't be more electrifying.
Canelo had the options for rematch. He didn't use it. Now he gonna fight again against someone not for me. I don't know if he wants to fight me or not, but I'm not ready.
This is where things truly start to heat up. Canelo, never one to back down from a challenge, remains driven by the sting of his loss to Bivol. "Nothing was right in that fight for me," Canelo has admitted, pointing to a lingering left wrist injury that eventually required surgery following his third bout with Gennady Golovkin in September 2022. The idea of a fully healthy Canelo returning to settle the score with Bivol is undeniably compelling. But it also comes with serious risk. Bivol isn't just another name. He's a calculated, disciplined, and highly skilled fighter whose first victory over Canelo exposed how difficult his style can be for Canelo's aggressive, pressure-based approach. A rematch might offer redemption, or a repeat of history.
Is there one guy that comes to mind? Is there one person who's still not? No.
Bivol maybe, just to get the rematch. Bivol maybe.
Bivol is one of the guys I have my rematch now to like I say, if he wins.
Even if Canelo does make it to a rematch with Bivol, he'd be stepping into unfamiliar territory as the underdog. Bivol is already a slight favorite in his upcoming clash with Art Beterbiev, a fighter with a 100% knockout ratio and a fearsome reputation. Still, Canelo isn't interested in Beterbiev. His focus is solely on Bicol. He has the ability to beat Beterbiev, Canelo admitted, but he made it clear, if Bicol falls short, the rematch likely disappears with him. Even if Bivol wins, another hurdle looms, the weight class. Canelo wants the rematch at 175 pounds, the division where Bicol previously beat him. But Bicol, riding high on confidence, has expressed interest in running it back at 168 pounds, where Canelo holds the undisputed super middleweight crown. To casual fans, that weight difference may seem minor, but for fighters at this level, a few pounds can define the outcome. Still, Canelo holds the ultimate bargaining chip, the payday. A rematch with him is the most lucrative fight Bivol can get. One that might be enough to bring the Russian back down to 168 on Canelo's terms. And while all this plays out, another name continues to echo in boxing circles: David Benavidez. Young, hungry, and relentless, the Mexican-American contender has long called out Canelo, demanding a shot. Despite a solid, though not spectacular, performance against Alexander Gvozdyk, hindered by a hand injury, Benavidez remains a looming threat. But Canelo? He is fighting at his natural weight, 175, and he doesn't look the same, Canelo said dismissively when asked about David Benavidez. The message was clear. For now, the door to a Benavidez-Canelo showdown seems firmly shut. But there's another wildcard still very much in play: Terence Crawford. The 37-year-old former undisputed welterweight champion recently made his debut at 154 pounds, narrowly edging out a decision win against Israel Madimov, a skilled and underrated opponent. While Crawford didn't look dominant, his confidence hasn't wavered. He still sees Canelo as his next great challenge. And despite the size difference, Crawford has never fought above 154, while Canelo has long campaigned at 168 and even 175. The Omaha native seems completely unbothered. Being bigger doesn't win fights, Crawford said, a line that echoes the very foundation of his career. He's made a name for himself by defying expectations, overcoming odds, and dismantling bigger, stronger fighters with pure skill, timing, and intelligence. A fight between Canelo and Crawford would be nothing short of monumental, arguably the biggest non-heavyweight bout in the sport today. The commercial appeal is undeniable, the fan demand is growing, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This is a heritage fight, Crawford said, and I believe I can actually win it. Given his record, it's not hard to imagine. For Crawford, it would be a legacy-defining move, an all-time great looking to conquer new territory. For Canelo, it would be another chance to prove why he's still the face of boxing. And while Canelo has yet to commit, one thing is certain. The idea of fighting Crawford isn't off the table. If I beat him, nobody's going to say, "Oh, he beat Crawford," Canelo pointed out. Because Crawford's a talented fighter, pound for pound outstanding, but he's smaller. At this stage of his career, Canelo's motivations go beyond legacy. It's about the payday, the spectacle, and maybe even crafting the final chapter of a legendary run. If the money's right, why not? Canelo admitted, acknowledging that every fight now has to make financial sense just as much as competitive sense. Crawford, for his part, is aware of the risks. He's admitted that the only real concern is Canelo's size and power. But even that doesn't seem to rattle him. He believes his superior reach, speed, and fight IQ can neutralize the physical disadvantages. Meanwhile, Canelo has shown visible irritation at the constant questions surrounding this matchup. And has made his stance clear: if the Crawford fight is going to happen, it won't come cheap. The Mexican star has set his asking price at a jaw-dropping $150 million. It's a number that speaks volumes, not just about how much Canelo values himself, but about how seriously he's taking the call-out. He's not biting unless the deal is just right. Still, Crawford shows no signs of backing down. Slim as the chances may be, he continues to chase the opportunity, framing it as the fight that could seal his legacy. For now, Canelo remains in full control. With dominance across multiple weight classes and a resume unmatched in modern boxing, he's earned the right to set the terms. And unless those terms are met, the Crawford dream match may stay just that, a dream. Canelo's combination of elite skill and punishing power makes him a nightmare matchup for almost anyone, let alone a naturally smaller fighter like Terence Crawford. Crawford has said his only concern in this potential fight is Canelo's size and power. But to many, that feels like an oversimplification. Canelo isn't just heavy-handed. He's a master tactician, capable of adjusting mid-fight, breaking down confident opponents who thought they had the answers. He's walked through fighters with similar self-belief and left them looking lost. Sure, Crawford's speed and reach are assets. But against someone like Canelo, those advantages might be neutralized by pure ring IQ and relentless pressure. Still, Crawford's confidence isn't blind. It's built on an undefeated record of 41 wins, including 31 knockouts. He's climbed through weight classes, taken risks, and beaten everyone in his path. His resume proves that he's one of the best of this generation. And he truly believes that his experience against bigger opponents gives him the edge he needs to stand toe-to-toe with Canelo. But the sentiment in boxing circles is growing. This might be too much, even for Crawford. Yes, he's faced larger fighters before, but Canelo is not just a bigger guy. He's a complete fighter whose physical strength, mental sharpness, and experience in the spotlight combine into a challenge unlike anything Crawford has faced. And that's what makes this potential showdown so compelling. A brilliant technician daring to step into the fire to test himself against a wrecking machine. Canelo's mix of power, technique, and world-class experience could present challenges Crawford has never faced before. And yet, Crawford remains relentless in his pursuit of the fight. So much so that it's drawn criticism from some corners of the boxing world. There are those who say Crawford is chasing a massive payday more than a meaningful challenge. With plenty of elite names at 147 and 154 pounds, critics argue that instead of cleaning out those divisions, Crawford is aiming for a shortcut, a blockbuster bout that could serve as a lucrative finale to his career. It's a tough argument to completely dismiss. Crawford is 37, and the financial appeal of a fight against Canelo, possibly the biggest payday of his life, is undeniable. For a fighter in the twilight of his career, wanting to cash in on one last megafight isn't exactly shocking. But the optics? They're complicated. Many fans have begun to grow weary of Crawford's constant callouts, especially as the bout continues to feel more like fantasy than reality. Still, Crawford remains undeterred. He believes this is the biggest fight in boxing, two of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world clashing in a legacy-defining event. Whether that belief turns into action is still uncertain. But one thing is clear: if this fight ever happens, it could change everything. 2 pound-for-pound elites, one massive what-if. On paper, a showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez has everything. Speed versus power, finesse versus brute force. A modern-day David versus Goliath tale that always captures the imagination of boxing fans, but peel back the hype, and the fight starts to feel less about sport and more about spectacle. The real question is this: does Crawford truly believe he can beat Canelo? Or is this pursuit more about cashing in before the curtain falls on a legendary career? For Canelo, the idea of fighting Crawford might feel like a step backward. He's been there, done that, conquered divisions, dismantled champions, and earned his place as one of the most iconic names in boxing. Taking on a naturally smaller fighter like Crawford, while financially enticing, might not add much to his already stacked legacy. Canelo has always chased challenges that test him, moving up in weight, taking on dangerous names like Dmitry Bicol or Caleb Plant. In contrast, facing Crawford could be seen as a mismatch. Even if Canelo wins, the victory might lack the shine of his past achievements. Still, the conversation isn't going away. It's loud, it's persistent, and it's compelling in its own way. Is this the fight that could still surprise everyone? Or just another what could have been in the pages of boxing's long history? Let us know what you think, and stay tuned for more. This saga might not be over just yet.